know that the people who are sitting at the top, they are having more power and authority. Whatever they say, we have to follow that. That's a scalar chain principle. Scalar chain says that your communication should always have some scale. It comes from president, then it goes to, let's say, vice president, then it goes to heads, and then it goes to individual employee. So in this way, there is a hierarchy of communication. There is a hierarchy of authority that flows from top to bottom. That is a scalar chain. Right, guys? Few principles of this are reflected in 14 principles of FAOL as well. So indirectly, we are discussing that as well. Division of work, absolutely. Organizing principle says that your work should be very much divided as per the specialty of the people. Right? We know in an hospital that nurses can only be there for your care, but for the treatment, you need a doctor. Right? Same ways, a pharmacist can take care of the medicine, not the patients. So, in a simple way, in an organization, also the finance people who are good with the numbers, calculations, accounts, they are in the finance department. The people who are good with the people management, speaking to the people, soft skills, they are very much aligned to the HR department. So, your work should be divided, your department should be divided as per your specialty so that your efficiency can be attained. After that, very next important assumption of the organizing is authority and responsibility. So both the concepts go hand in hand. Let's say you give me authority that I'm managing a project, and in that I need a lead of a team of 10 people. But you don't give a responsibility to me that they are, if they don't do the work, then I'm responsible. Then it doesn't bring any kind of seriousness in me. So authority and responsibility should go parallelly. It's always go hand in hand. If you actually have the authority to give the direction to the people, you should also be responsible enough to take care of their results. After that, flexibility. Organization should be such which is flexible for the changes. Organizing always believes that there should be an element of flexibility. That's what we have started in planning also. A lot of flexibility is needed because things are keeps on changing in the environment. If you're being rigid, if you're being very much adamant to your approach, you cannot do good. Coordination, absolutely. Various departments in the organization work together. You cannot say I'm a production department, I don't consider about the sales. You need to be work together. Span of control says that how many people a manager can manage. What is a team size? That is a span of control. Generally, it is an ideal philosophy that you should not expand your span, because if you increase the number of people under your team, maybe your supervision can be diluted. You will not be able to give them individual attention. So try to minimize the number of team members so that you will be able to give the individual attention to the people. And the last is simplicity. So whatever your organizational structure is, we are going to understand what is the structure actually. It should be very simple. Like for example, if I'm working, I know who is my boss, who is my super boss, and who is my head. So in that way, if I have a problem, I know I should first communicate to my reporting manager. If the problem doesn't get solved, I skip to the next level. And if not, then to the next level. So there should be a very clear hierarchy that how I'm going to communicate my problem. It should be very simple and clear. There should not be more layers. Like generally in a government department, what's the major problem we face? It's a bureaucracy. If you want to get it any work, then they ask you to go from one desk to another desk, then you get fed up. You simply say that there is no point of just waiting here. Unnecessary, they are wasting our time from moving here and there. They don't know that how the work can be get done. So generally, whenever a person has a problem, he or she simply require to get it done in a very less number of time in a very simple way. So organizing me also says that your structure should be very clear and simple to the people. Then only they can communicate, then only they can work efficiently. So that's a very basic principles of organizing, right? After that, guys, this is really very important. I want everyone to pay 100% attention on this topic, because this would actually create a base for the entire unit number 3. And if I talk about OS and OD, they are the really very important concepts from the point of view of examination also. OS means organization structure and OD means organizational design, right? Maybe few people assume that they are same. No, they are not same. They may be used interchangeably, but there is a difference between both the concepts, right? Let me first clear the concept of organizational design. You just understand it. For example, whenever, if you're going to purchase a house, what the architect first show you? He or she may show you only a blueprint that here you're supposed to have the living room, here is the your dining area, here is the open area, here is your master bedrooms, kitchen size, your puja room. He or she may show you the blueprint, how your house is going to be look like. That's the same as an organizational design. So organizational design is actually a map of a company. It is a planning that how your organization is supposed to be. It decide that how the people work in a team. It decide that how the people, you can say, di- be divided into the departments, how they are going to receive the orders from the superior, how the authority may flows. It decide everything from end to end. That is an organizational design. It is a part of the planning of the organization map, how everything is to be placed within the organization. Let's say an organization structure is a part of organizational design. It is one of the element which is important in organizational design. So when I say that architect is showing you your building of your house, that how your everything may fit inside your house, that is organizational design. Now, when finally the architect may give you the layout of your flat, what is the wall size, what is the room size, where you arrange your rooms, how from the entry, which room is to be there, that is an organizational structure. So designing is a more planning part and structure is actually the result or outcome of that, you can say. But again, note somewhere that structure is one of the element of the design. It is not a big part, it is a small part as compared to organizational design. So organizational structure will say that finance may work in a finance department, HR may work in a HR department, there could be a different administrative department, there could be sales, there could be purchase. So how the arrangement of the people would be there in the different departments, what is the reporting relationship, who is managing whom, who is reporting to whom, what are your roles actually, right? It shows you that to whom you are reporting, who is your team lead, in which department you are, what hierarchy you are following. So it is a final blueprint actually, right? Again, I'll give you a very simple example, then you may understand these concepts better. Then we go to the Q&A. Again, please be attentive, everyone. Just understand my example, then we go back to the question and answers. Assume that you are managing a factory of a cardboard manufacturing. It can be any product. I'm just assuming it very hypothetically. You are a manufacturer of a cardboard, let's say, right? So you are a factory owner. You're a manufacturing a small cardboards, let's say. Now, what can be the organizational design for that cardboard factory? First, you're planning like how many cardboard boxes you are making. So that should be a planning part, right? How you are going to check the quality of your cardboard means, right? Once your cardboards are ready, who is going to take them to the market and how your sales is to be handled, let's say. So planning of your production, quality, sales and marketing, or delivery and dispatch, let's say, this is a part of organizational design. You define your workflow that once you start take the raw material, then you start the production, then you check the quality, then you put your cardboards in some packaging, and finally you dispatch it to the market. That is a part of your organizational designing, let's say, right? This entire planning is organizational design. But let's say after your planning, once you've done all your planning, I just once again repeat, once you actually do all your planning, that production team is responsible for manufacturing your cardboard boxes, quality team is responsible for the defects, and sales team is responsible for taking the order and the delivery part. That is a part of organizational design. Now, once the planning is complete, let's say, then your structure, how it will look like. Let's say, for example, in your organizational structure, on the top is a factory owner. It means you. Under you, we have a various managers, production manager, quality manager, sales and dispatch managers, right? And again, under those managers, we have some workers, we have some inspectors, we have some delivery people. So this arrangement that inspector is reporting to quality manager and quality manager is reporting to your factory owner. This arrangement of role, this arrangement of hierarchy is organizational structure. So organizational structure is one of the part of a planning of organizational design. Once you understand this concept, Then only you may be able to understand the types of organizational structure, right? So I would request you to please post your queries in the Q&A for any part of the principles and the OS and OD. Today's unit number, Rakesh, is unit number 3. It is related to organizing. Mahesh is saying that PPT is not clear. I request moderator to please check once again the visibility. Is the visibility of the presentation is clear?
Yes, ma'am, it is absolutely clear.
And what about the audio issue?
No, ma'am, no issues at all.
But why the learners are posting that they are not able to hear my voice? Okay, never mind. So, Surajit, you can say now any example you can take. Let's say when we set up everything in on any organization. Let's say you are running a company, right? So, how you plan for your company? Let's say, for example, initially you start with the capital, then with that, how you start with the manufacturing part, what product you are going to start, what services you are going to give, how you are going to treat your customers. So, every planning is a designing part. Everything you, when you're deciding about your organization from production to marketing, that is a designing part. But within a particular department, let's say you just take sales department. So in a sales department, you have sales executors, you have a sales manager, you have a sales head, let's say. So sales head is the biggest person under whom you have a manager. Under that, you have a sales executor. So if anything happen in the field, executives will complain to the manager. Manager will say this to the sales head, and sales head is under a main CEO. So this hierarchy, this reporting relationship, who is reporting to whom, what are their roles, it is a part of organizational structure, and design is big than that. Puneet, span of control is how many people you are managing as a leader. It is the number of team members you are managing. Thank you so much, Deepak, for the clarity. Because don't take it otherwise. If somebody uh, clear the audio. So again, it gives me a quick sense that I should need to check it. Uh, to certain extent, we can say, Samipan, that OD is a more holistic approach. It is a comprehensive concept. And OS is more about the individual aspects of every department. Organizational structure, Gorisha, it is, you can say, how your roles, how your reporting relationships, how the responsibilities of any individual is decided in the organization. That is a part of organizational structure. OD Hasitha, it is more about the planning. Whether not, I'm not talking only about the department, but about the other things also. It is about your strategies, it is about your vision, how you make sure everything should be go hand in hand. That is a part of OD. So OD is a more big concept. That's why I said it is a more holistic, it is a more comprehensive concept. It is all about the planning, the blueprint of your company. Now everything you call include in that. Yes, OD is more about planning and OS is more about the execution part. I think now people are clear about the concept of OD and OS. Please quickly. I maybe not be able to miss any questions. Rajat, I should not completely agree here because at times in the planning also we studied this, that even though if you plan many things about your company, if there is any change in the environment, you cannot say that we are fixed. So you can say that there is an element of stability in OD. You cannot change it frequently, but yes, definitely OS is something that you can take a call quite frequent because it is not something which is impacting your entire organization. You're just talking about your own department. Absolutely, Sakshi. Your reporting relationship, responsibilities, these is only OS. The more big part, strategies, vision, mission, everything is OD. Yes, absolutely. Generally, Rani and Ananda, I would like to add here that it is not like one or two we need to segregate here in OS and OD, because generally if I talk about the structure also. Now, once we go through with the types of structure, then you get a better understanding that OS is also very limited for the company. You cannot say that you can follow multiple OS actually. OS is a part of OD, absolutely. Divijit, no, it is not like HR department comes under OD and then finance may come under OS. No, departmentalization planning is OD, but how the people in within a particular department, whether it is HR, whether it is finance, their reporting relationships are managed, their roles and responsibilities are managed, that is OS. So you cannot segregate the department under any one concept. Scalar chain is a chain of command. Generally, in every organizations, how your authorities may flow. The people from the top, they give you some instructions and you need to follow that. That is a scalar chain. That your line of authority may always have some channel. It's like that. No, I think Bhupesh, we are taking it in a very different way. So we are not talking about the politics here. Politics is something that is absolutely inevitable, right? Please, because once we discuss those topics, I think you can have a better understanding. Span of control is the number of people that we are managing. I think now we are asking the repetitive questions, right? So now I think we all are clear with the concept of OS and OD. Please be stick to what we have understand about the concept of OS here. Now there are various types of structures that any organization may have. It can be functional, it can be divisional, it can be metrics, it can be team, or it can be network also, right? I give you the examples. Now we are not going with the theories part, guys, right? It's because you already being working, or even though you are not, then also you are that much sensible enough to actually understand from the example that which structure I'm talking about, right? So when I'm saying that, let's say in any university, we have different type of work. Academic peoples are doing their task, deciding about the faculty curriculum. Finance people are taking all the invoices and the bills. HR department is taking the headache of the people. IT department maintaining the technology infrastructure, and admission department is handling all the queries related to students. What is this? This is a simple example of your functional structure. So where your structure says that a company is divided into some departments on the basis of specializations, on the basis of the roles, it is a simple example of a functional structure. So functional is nothing, but we are talking about the departmentalization. It is the divide of the organization into the various departments, right? Next, we talk about divisions. So generally, if you talk about multinational companies, they don't have their offices in a one place. They have their office in the India, they have their office in the Europe, they have their office in the Canada, let's say. So having your offices in the multiple geographies, you have a different branches actually. And every branch is free to decide upon their relationships, authorities, roles of the people, right? So what are these? So if I'm saying that the office of India is working very differently as compared to the office of US, so that is a divisional structure where an organization is having multiple divisions. It can be on the basis of geography, it can be on the basis of product, let's say, it can be on the basis of any other criteria, let's say market also. If I am a company which is dealing in multiple products, let's say beauty care is my different segment, household appliances are different segment, healthcare is a different segment, and every segment I consider as a separate division, let's say. And in every division, the people are working, the departments are there, how their relationships are deciding, that is a divisional structure. So where every division has its own department, they have this autonomy to take the decisions, it comes under divisional structure. Please understand it. It can be on the basis of geography, product, or a market, depending how the company divided. They'll talk about metrics. So metrics is something that actually combining the two structure, generally functional and divisional. Now, what do you mean by that? Now, in this case of metric structure, what happened as an individual person or an employee, your reporting is not to a single manager. It is to the two people, let's say. How? Now, how it works actually. Please understand that. Let's say I said that in the matrix, generally we combine the features of functional and the divisional structure. You're working on a project. Let's say you are working in an IT firm. I just give you a very simple example. You're working in an IT firm, software development firm, let's say, right? And you are working under some app. You are working on a project where you have to create a application or an app for a banking, let's say. There is a one team who is working under this project. There is another team which is working for creating a website for the e-commerce companies, right? Now what happened? The developers of project A, the developers of project B, they are reporting to the head of departments. You are working in an IT company. Let's say you are working under in a software development section. So your reporting is one to the software development head of that. At the same time, if you are working in project A, your reporting is to that project manager. Or if you are working in project B for e-commerce platform, your reporting is to that project manager also. So in this case, as an individual employee, my reporting is to the two people. First is to my own head. Second is to my project head. So this is a kind of structure which is generally known as a metric structure, where as an individual, I am following two type of structure. First is a functional, that is my department says that. And another one is on, generally we say it as a divisional because it is on the basis of some projects. So it is a kind of temporary setup. You cannot say this is something which lasts for permanent, right? Next is a team-based structures. So team-based structures, it is more that where the employees are divided into small teams, let's say, and they work for some projects, for some tasks. So instead of having the departments, organization allow the people to work on some collaboration and the teamwork, let's say. They don't create a department. They generally have some small team for the projects generally, right? And every team may have some type of different type of people from the different specialization, and they all are taking care of the product from end to end. It's like that. So rather than having any strict department sort of thing, generally small companies can do this. They can have a team setup. They don't want to create more conflicts in the departments, but generally they have a team setup, and every team, let's say team A, team B, team C, they are all reporting to the one person. So that's the team based structure. It is very simple. Rather than having a department, you just create a team based structure where the people would work in a collaboration for any team based project. You don't want to separate the people in the department. It's just like that. And the last is a network structure. Guys, in this today's context, if I'm talking about as an organization, your dependency on the network of the people is more. It can be the suppliers, it can be the contractors, if you're a real estate company, it can be the external partners, investors, maybe, right? It can be any other pressurized groups as well, right? So, as a owner, let's say, for example, or as a CEO, when you are dealing for your outsourcing to the manufacturing partners, let's say, right? So you are actually outsourcing some part of your business so that your focus could be on more different other parts. If I talk about one of the famous brand, that's a Nike, then Nike generally focus on their designing part. For the manufacturing part, they outsource it to the other different countries. So when you are outsourcing, your manufacturing partners, your suppliers, your supply chain partners could increase. So it is a network structure. Where as an organization, you are not only connected with the people who are working inside, but you are connecting with the network of the external partners also. So as a core company, you can say managing the multiple pair of people. Maybe as a, for example, if you're a fashion brand, let's say, so you have designers, you have manufacturers, you have logistics who are outside your company. They are your external partners. You need to maintain collaboration with them as well. Apart from that, if you want to showcase your product on the e-commerce, so you have to take care for the e-commerce platform as well, for the retailers as well. They are also the part of your network. So as an organization, your structure could not be decided only within the organization. It can be decided on the basis of collaboration from the external partners also. So how much network of external people you are managing, it is a network structure, nothing else, right? So in this way, basically, there are variety of the structures we have come across, but generally, if I talk about the major aspect, then generally organizations may have this functional structure and divisional one. And there are few setups like IT companies, I can say, that usually work on the projects, right? Then they generally have the metric structure. Even nowadays, universities may also very geared up. So if they actually go with any quality accreditations. So there is a different quality team who is working and who are taking the people from the different departments. So in this way, as a individual, if I'm working on any project which is absolutely taking care for the quality aspect for the entire university, so my reporting managers are two. First is, for example, if I'm working in an MBA department, so my head, I'm reporting to that person. At the same time, if I'm working on the university level for the quality department, then that quality head is also my reporting manager for my project. So that is a metric structure. So it basically follows as well. So depending on the circumstance, depending on the situation, depending what is right in that moment, generally organization may go for the choice of any type of structure, right? So before I move on to the next topics, I just wanted to complete this with Q&A also so that we can move on to the next concept of this unit. Please let me know if you are having any doubts in any structure form. Network, Dinesh, it is more, the more you collaborate with the network of the people outside your organization, the more you define this structure. What examples you need? It can be any external partner, can be the contractors, can be the suppliers, can be the distributors, can be the retailers, anybody who is not working within your organization. Divisional is something which is deciding the structure on the basis of organization division, how you divide your organization on the basis of branches, on the basis of country, or on the basis of product or the market. It's like that. So divisional, just now I have explained, Richa. Metrics is something that takes the combination of both the divisional and the functional one. To certain extent, Rashid, we can say that where you divide the people not on the basis of the department, but you would like them to work in a team. Functional Functional is very simple. It is the dividing of the people on the basis of the departments. Now, Shravan, there could be different people who could be responsible for the delivery failure. So if you're working in a customer service department, maybe you are not good with the customer queries and the output, then also your delivery failure could be there. So delivery failure could be in every department. So we cannot stick it to any structure here. I have not used this word smaller and bigger, Etisha. You are taking me wrong. I just said that OD is a more big picture because that's a part of the planning. Within that, you decide upon organization structure also. So structure is a part of OD. I never said that OS is small. So you have to understand in that way. Designing is a part of planning. Please don't assume the things wrong. Then you may not understand it. You cannot decide, Rakesh, OD and OS in horizontal and vertical because your line of authorities may come from any point of view. Even in a structure, also, when I'm saying that if it is vertical, then in metrics also you actually receive your instructions from your project manager. So that is not a vertical thing, let's say. It may be the horizontal, people who was working on the same level, maybe, but he or she, maybe they're heading some other department, not specialized in yours. Maybe you are receiving the orders from that person, that can be the horizontal. So you cannot strictly state any particular aspects in vertical and horizontal movements. Okay, any other thing that we would like to ask? Metrics is more a combination of the functional and the divisional one. Functional because you are dividing into the department. Divisional generally because, again, your point of reporting is not single. You are actually being reported to the two people here. Metrics, in certain way, the Vijit, we can say network structure where the school has a tie-up with transportation people. Then they have a tie-up with the banks for the receiving of the fees and other things. Everything, connection, networking of the people is network structure. Yes, customers are always comes in your network structure. No, Sakshi, here I would have a different point. Again, how your things will be managing from end to end, that's a part of the planning part. But again, as an individual department, how my channel partners are to be selected, that is in the hands of the particular department only. So you are deciding your networks, right? It is something that cannot be flow from the top one. Uh, Guys, please understand in that way that please don't get confused with the metrics. It is more related to the combination of the two types of structure, right? So why I say functional and the divisional? Because generally in any organizations, and I've given you the example of the university also, like if I'm working on any project for the organization as a whole, I cannot say that I'm being in a management department, I stick to that. Maybe if I really want to grow, I need to work from the holistic perspective also. So my reporting authority could be the two people. That's a metric structure. So metrics always says that your reporting relationship cannot be confined to the one person. It may be two people as well, depending on any extra project that you're working apart from your regular work style. It's like that, right? Now I'm moving to the next part. I think the repetitive questions are there. Now I would request your other people to please respond to the queries that have been raised by your friends, because then it may be stick to the same concept only. Now, connecting with that, let's go to the next topic that's related to authority and the responsibility. So, as we have discussed in the principle also, that both the concepts go hand in hand, right? So, when authority I'm talking about, it is more that you have a right to give the orders, right? People generally assume that you have a right to command. So, it is generally goes in that way. And when I talk about responsibility, so it comes from your inside. You think that's your obligation, it's your duty to perform that task, right? When I say that authority, definitely it always flows from generally the position in the hierarchy. So generally we say that it is usually downward. People from the top, they give you some instructions and you are supposed to follow that. That's how it goes, right? But if I talk about responsibility, then responsibility is always comes from your acceptance. So maybe as an individual, if you're working as a middle level of person, if you are responsible enough, so your flow can be from upward side, down to up. It can never be top to bottom. It can be bottom to top, let's say, right? Now, if I say authority, who has given you authority? So it comes from your position. Now, if you are being a head, so automatically you are authorized to give the orders. But if I talk about responsibility, it means that if somebody has given you some task, automatically responsibility may comes by that. So as simple as that, when your manager has given you some instructions, it is an example of authority. And if I talk about responsibility, so whatever task is being given to you, it should be completed within the time. That is your duty. That's your obligation. So that's a difference between authority and the responsibility. After that, let's talk about another very interesting concept that is known as a delegation of authority. Now, how much work your boss could do alone? He or she may need to delegate it to the very next responsible person, let's say, right? So, delegation is like as a manager, if I'm a good leader, I should always try to train my people in my team so that whenever I'm not there, they can actually work on my behalf. Delegation is like, for example, if I'm not there, so somebody could on me my behalf could represent me, So that's a very important principle in management, and that's important because as a leader, you should distribute your workload. You should not you some task, automatically your responsibility may comes by that. So as simple as that, when your manager has given you some instructions, it is an example of authority. Authority. And if I talk about responsibility, so whatever task is being given to you, it should be completed within the time. That is your duty. That's your obligation. So that's a difference between authority and the responsibility. After that, let's talk about another very interesting concept that is known as a delegation of authority. Now, how much work your boss could do alone? He or she may need to delegate it to the very next responsible person, let's say, right? So, delegation is like as a manager, if I'm a good leader, I should always try to train my people in my team so that whenever I'm not there, they can actually work on my behalf. Delegation is like, for example, if I'm not there, so somebody could on me my behalf could represent me. So that's a very important principle in management, and that's important because as a leader you should distribute your workload. You should not take everything on you unnecessary, then you may involve in a routine task, right? So there are very important aspects of delegation. Is first is authority. Absolutely, when the person is delegating you, it means the person has a right to take some decisions, to take some distribute some resources, right? If something has been given to you, it is your, I can say, responsibility to complete that task. If my boss is not there and the boss has given me a responsibility that for the next 1 week you have to take care of the team, you have to attend all the meetings on my behalf, so that is my responsibility to do that. Accountability is like, for example, if anything happens in the meeting, if anything would like to ask for my boss, I have to answer that. That is my accountability, right? So, as an individual, as a leader, as a good manager, you should always believe in delegation. You should not think of keeping the things within you. It should not be done. It's like that, right? I think these are very simple concepts. If anybody would like to ask anything from the authority and the delegation part, please let me know. Delegation, how it can be an HR? It is never related to HR. It can be with any department. Yes, to certain extent, John, we can say that matrix is more like a combination where your reporting is not being fixed to a one person. actually spread your not to wait for the top management approval for everything. So it will the divisional one. I'm not there, they can that task. Grow up from the structures now. We have already been covered two topics. Divisional structure is where you divide your organization on the basis of some branches, can be geography, can be market, can be the product. And every other department, every other division is taking care of their own work setup. That is a division structure. Universities may follow functional structure also. Universities may follow metrics also. University may follow division also. You cannot divide these structures on the basis of the sector. I have given you the example under all the structure of the university. Network structure is very simple, whereas an organization, you are managing the network of the external partners. Delegation means as a manager, as a leader, how alone you can do your all work. You need to give it to your subordinates so that they can also be trained. Anyways, if you want them to become a future leader, you need to train them. Whatever you're doing, let them be responsible, accountable for that. Then only they understand that how much pressure you are handling. That is a delegation. Accountability means answerability. Vishwakarma, for example, if I've given you this task, that from the next session, you need to manage the chat, let's say. Like if somebody is posting anything which is repetitive, you need to answer that. It means, Vishwakarma, I've given you this accountability that if I ask anybody that there are repetitive questions, Vishwakarma, are you answering those questions? It means that is your answerability. I make them accountable for that. Accountable is, you can say, answerable for that thing. Let's say if you have not answered the repetitive questions, then it is a wrong on your part because I have given you that responsibility. Now you are answerable to me. That is, accountability is answerability. If somebody has given you some responsibility, then you are responsible, you are accountable, you are answerable for the output. It's like that. Authority and responsibility difference, Pratik, we have already done. Authority means as an individual, you are a manager. So your hierarchy or position has already given you some status. Now, with that status, you have some rights to give the instructions to the people. You have the rights to direct them. I should not use word order because I don't like that. But in a past context, in any organization, people do like to give the orders. That is an authority. And responsibility comes from the acceptance of the things. It is not mandatory that you should always have some position to be responsible. Responsibility comes from your within. Even if you're a very small level person also, and you think that whatever you're doing, you're responsible for that, it is like your acceptance of the task will give you the responsibility. And if you please take mark my words that if you're being responsible by your nature, then you really grow very fast because the people may see that thing in your uh, characteristics and it shows in your work as well. At times, people do the work just for the sake of doing it, just for the earn the salary. But beyond that, if you're taking a responsibility that if there is an error, I'm responsible for that. That is an acceptance. Something people will do just to get away from that. I hope everybody's clear now. Accountability is answerability, and responsibility is taking the ownership of the work. It is acceptance of the work. Absolutely, Sudipta. When you delegate your task, when you actually believing that your subordinates are competent enough to do what you are doing, it means you are making them responsible also. Ultimately, they're accepting, and you are making them answerable also because when you're not there, so they are being answerable for whatever the team is doing. Accountability is answerability. Delegation, again, I've repeated, like in your absence, how you make your team to be the future leaders, that is a delegation. As a manager, as a leader, you cannot do all the things alone. You also need somebody who is competent enough to take care of whatever you are doing. So it is like making your people more answerable. And if you do that, they'll be more accountable and they'll be more responsible as well. And it gives them a feeling of acceptance. It gives them a feeling of self-rewarding. If you include them in your things, they also actually assume it that you are thinking from their progression path. So that's a good thing as well. Now, next we are moving to the concept that's known as a decentralization. Guys, that's a very different concept. Decentralization is now generally in the organization how the decisions are taken. It is generally taken at the top management, right? But decentralization means that your decision making authority, right? It should not be with a one, you can say, section. It should not be limited to the top management. It should be distributed to the individuals, departments, so that they be feel to be more committed. It is more closely related to delegation part, right? But delegation is a very small thing in front of decentralization. So many organizations generally what happen, they take all the decisions by their own. Some people who are sitting at the top. There are very few organizations who actually think to be decentralized. They actually give this power to the departmental heads that take the decisions of your departments by your own. Don't come to us. That is their approach, right? So decentralization is more where decision making is spreaded across the all the levels. It is not being limited to the one section of the people. Definitely, when you actually spread your decision making across the various level, it will improve the speed because again, you need not to wait for the top management approval for everything. So it will improve the speeds of your decisions. You can take the most fast decisions. For example, if anything has to be decided, any decision has to be taken regarding the sales. Now, if sales head cannot have anything in their hand, they have to wait for the approval for the president or head of the marketing, then it will take time. But if the sales head is in this position to take some decisions for their own team, then it will be good. So your decisions will be more fast, right? Again, if you allow your people to take the decision, it will make them feel more empowered. Empowered means they think that they have the freedom. They think that it should motivate them. It should keep on morale, right? Another thing is that with the decentralization, you can be more adaptable, you can be more flexible to the things that is going around. Let's say, for example, if you are giving this authority to the departmental managers that you take the decisions of your own departments, it means they are very much known what is going on about the recent trend. So if sales head is taking any decision on for their department, it means that person is very much aware what is going on in the market, what the customer needs, what the customer requirement, what the demand. So that person is in a better condition to understand the trends in the market. So better adaptation to the local changes. Absolutely, when you allow the people to take the decision, they are on the scale of becoming the future leaders, right? It will reduce the burden on the top management. So top management is not responsible for all the decisions. Their departmental heads are competent enough to take the decisions, right? And then in such type of cases where you actually spread your decision making in the various level, it will allow the people to think for the big good aspects. So it will actually promote innovation, creative solution, and everybody do this at the various levels. It's like that, right? So basically, people in a small, if I would like to summarize the concept of decentralization, it is more that you don't want the things to be fixed at a one place. I'm not saying, again, it could have some challenges as well. If you allow the people to take the decisions, let's say, maybe you think that they may be biased or they can tweak the situation for their advantage. I'm not saying it. The top management should not see anything when the departmental heads are taking the decisions, but allow them to take the decisions, but at least review it, check it, so that there will be no biasness on their part also. So challenges could be there. I'm not saying that this is a very good situation, this is a very good concept, but it works. If you actually take every decision in your from the top management only, then what the employees will think that we are not the part of the decisions. Let the people take the decision, we just work. So they don't take the responsibility. They don't accept the work actually. If you want the people to be more committed to your organization, if you want the people to be more loyal, if you want the people should feel more empowered, you should decentralize your organization or your decision making basically, right? So that's how it works. And I think the last topic that we are going to discuss today, we end up with this, then we continue in the next session. That's what I said, that I have divided this topic into the two sessions. So today we are going to complete till interdepartmental coordination. From next topic, I'm going to continue in my next session. I hope this works for everyone. Now, what do you mean by coordination again, guys? Interdepartmental. Now, every department need to be work in coordination with each other. So that's how it's create a way for the better communication. Absolutely, right? A marketing department can closely work with the sales or production department and they should also be coordinated with the finance department, because ultimately finance department is going to release the budget, let's say, right? In case of interdepartmental coordination, it's really very important that your communication system should be very clear, it should be very transparent. Second is that clearly specifying that what every department is doing, it means it is a very defined roles and responsibilities. So there is no issue that you are working for some other thing and other department is also working on the same. So there is no issues when where the two departments are working on the same. So if there's a coordination, it means if I'm taking care for the production, you are taking care for the delivery part. That's clear between us, right? Whenever we are talking, then only it is clear. If we don't talk to each other, we don't know whether you are doing the same and I'm also doing the same. Next is standardized process. So it is really very important when the departments coordinated with each other that there should be a one procedure for everything. There should be a uniform procedures, let's say, right? So if you are doing, like, let's say, for example, if I am working as an e-retailer, so lots of orders we receive every day, let's say, right? So an e-commerce company should always use a standard order processing flowchart. So when you process your order, how every department needs to follow, you should give them some standard operating procedures, some SOPs. So that will allow every department, whether it is sales, whether it is inventory, whether it's in logistics, that they're following a same flow chart. So there will be less chances of the errors, right? Definitely for the better coordination, you should meet, review the things, understand where is the differences are coming, and try to resolve that. So departmental meetings, regular way, will actually very helpful to solve any kind of doubts, right? Interdepartmental coordination is also very important because when you talk to the other department, you come to know what kind of work they are doing. So it is actually developing you cross functionally. You're not specific to your own domain only. You're actually understanding the perspectives of other department as well. So if I'm in a university, I'm working in a management department. So I just don't want to be confined to the management faculty where I just take care for the BBA and MBA. Maybe for any project or for any coordination part, let's say if I have a chance to work with the engineering department, I come to know, maybe I don't understand their domain. That's a very technical part. But maybe they're doing something different that may be relatable to me. Maybe something I can learn from them about AI. That's absolutely ultimately develop skills as well. And the last is organization should have some kind of policies where they reward the people for those who work with the interdepartmental coordinations, let's say. So once, or I can say there should be some projects on the organization point of view where they allow the people to collaborate with each other. And for them, if they successfully work under any project, there should be a policies for incentives also. So such type of things actually motivate the people that they should also go beyond their department and should try to find out some different aspects, right? So in this way, interdepartmental coordination is always beneficial for the overall growth and efficiency of the organization. Yeah. Yes, people, this is the last topic for the today's session. Now, again, the Q&A session is open for everybody for the overall overall growth and efficiency of the organization. Yeah. Yes, people, this is the last topic for the today's session. Now, again, the Q&A session is open for everybody. Cross-functional Vishwakarma, it means that you are not restricting yourself to the one department. You try to learn the other domains as well. I've given you the example. You're working in a production department, so you know everything about production, how it is going on, what are the defects calculation. Now you would like to understand the challenges of the salespeople as well. Once you deliver them the product, what the challenges they are facing. Maybe they are facing some issues with respect to packaging. So their inputs could help you in order to revise your step, let's say. So cross-functional means that whatever you are doing in your specialization, you try to understand other perspectives, other domains as well. Collaboration is a part of coordination. Coordination is big picture again. Coordination is more in the planning, in the direction, in the controlling. And again, collaboration could be related to any small specific task. It cannot be more wide in nature, you can say. So again, if you coordinate it, collaboration automatically comes within that. It's like that. Absolutely. It will take time, Santoshini. Our technical team is taking care for uploading the sessions or recordings in the LMS, but I guess it will be in the next working weeks only. Sandeep, if I talk about decentralization, generally we decentralize the decision makings. We don't decentralize the powers. Please try to understand. There's a lot of difference between decision making and power. You cannot give a position of yours to anybody, but whatever rights you have as for from that position, that is a decision making right, that you can decentralize. You cannot give your power to anybody. Please understand that. Delegation is again believing that your team is competent enough to do your work for some time. You want to relieve, that's a delegation. So delegation is of any task, any work, but decentralization is for the decision making things. It's a more big aspect. Decentralization is generally being, you can say, decided from the top management, right? That how every departmental head should take their own decisions. So it is more related to the decision making authority. Absolutely, Shashank. No, delegation and decentralization both are different. That's why it is generally said delegation of authority, responsibility, accountability, and decentralization of decision making. Now, delegation include Vishwakarma, accountability, responsibility, and authority. You cannot say alone it can be the responsibility. You should take these three aspects together. Example of decentralization is very simple, where the top management would like to involve their all the departmental heads in all the decisions. They don't want to put them pressure that we have taken the decision and you have to follow that. Assignment would be there in your content part only. Please check in the course style. Okay. So I hope now everybody is clear because you are asking for the feedbacks. It means that you all are clear with this. Assignments are posted under the content part in the LMS only. Yeah, so moderator has already shared the feedback links. Yes, Rajat. That's a decentralization because that's important because army knows that what are the kind of decision that they need to take in these geopolitical areas. And it is absolutely being good. So thank you so much, everyone, for your interaction, for your entire discussion throughout the session. So we are just concluded our session here only. We will be continue this topic in the next session. The remaining topics I'm going to pick in the next session. I really want to thank moderator and all the learners for joining this session. We meet again with more interesting examples and the discussion. Thank you once again, everyone, and have a lovely weekend.
Thank you, ma'am. Learners, kindly fill the feedback form. Thank you.
I request you to please post the feedback form in Q&A once again.